Hello, and welcome to the Advist Group's Project Management video series. In today's video, we'll begin by exploring how to define and determine project milestones. We'll focus on key topics related to setting milestones and walk through an example involving the development of new software. Planning begins where the project ends, with the project's planned goals. One methodology of milestone planning is backward-oriented planning. The targeted end product is responsible for the resource requirements. This means that the project manager always has an overview of the project from above. But what does this mean in practice? Let's take a closer look at that on the next slide. In the case of a simple example, it is important to follow some basic principles to ensure that the project can be carried out successfully and efficiently. First of all, the milestones should be clearly defined. Each milestone should describe a specific, verifiable outcome that is clearly measurable. In this way, progress in the course of the project can be objectively evaluated. Practical tip: if possible, never set the milestones on the day of the week, Friday. Otherwise, Saturday is often inevitable and you have no buffer left. Another important aspect is timing. The intervals between the milestones should be realistically chosen to give the participants enough time to complete the tasks. At the same time, they should be set in such a way that the project progresses continuously and there are no unnecessary delays. Let's take a look at a simple example of new software that is to be completed within a year. If we plan from the end of the project, the first milestone is the go-live planning, which should take place towards the end of the year. Before a go-live planning, a full test is necessary, which should be successfully completed. To complete them successfully, we need a test environment that allows us to plan our test cases. As a fourth milestone, we can choose our software from different providers, which we would like to use on the test environment. And last but not least, in order to choose the right software, it is imperative to list and complete the requirements, which should be the first major milestone for this project. In this example, we have identified 5 milestones. Here we can see the chronological sequence of milestones for a software project. The first milestone is the start of the project. The current actual date and the current planned date are both the 1st of January next year. The next milestone is the requirements analysis, which has been completed. Both dates are currently set for 28th of February. After the requirements analysis, the selection of the software starts, which should be completed by 30th of April. Let's assume that we currently have a delay due to certain circumstances. The current date is 15th of May. The test environment should then be ready by 31st of May. Here too, we can still see the 2-week delay from the previous milestone. The other milestones are tests completed, the go-live, as well as the planned end of the project. Current dates have not yet been set there. In practice, the project would probably be delayed further instead of being able to make up for 2 weeks of the previous milestone. Finally, here are 3 tips to help you present and formulate the milestones. Start and end is always set as a milestone. Use more than 4 milestones, but usually less than 10 milestones. And last but not least, always write down the milestones as a state. For example, as seen on the left side of our example, the software is already selected, so the milestone is always clearly measurable and clearly delineates when it is really reached. We have reached the end of the video. Today we talked about milestones and looked at a nice example of them. In this video, we learned how a milestone plan for a software could look like in rough terms. Thank you, and see you next time.